Hey everybody, welcome back. Unless of course this is your first time joining us, then welcome. It's good to have you here. My name's Chris Cook. I'm the sole developer of this game, which I'm calling Peasants. Finally settled on the name. I think Peasants is fine. It's good. I was bouncing between a bunch of different names, trying to get the right kind of feel, but in the end, I decided, let's just go with this. This works. And I spoke to a few people about it, and they all like the name as well. So, this game is now called Peasants. I've been developing this for about a year now, but that's on and off. Sorry, just turn the fog off a second. Developing this game for about a year on and off, but really started ramping up production in the last, I'd say, like 6 months or so. I kind of got a second wind, as you might say, and really kind of just put all my free and spare time into building this. The last video I put out was, 2 months ago, so I have quite a bit to show you. I actually spent a lot of my time refactoring the game from blueprints to C++. There was a lot of build errors that cropped up when I was building using blueprint, enums, and structs, causing a lot of problems. It basically meant that every time I wanted to create a package, I would have to go through all my structs and enums, the blueprint versions, and rename them. That was the only way I could fix it. Otherwise, every time I do a package build, it would just throw out constant errors. It was getting really, really annoying. Basically that took up a large chunk of my time, and while I was doing that, I was also obviously refactoring stuff, moving a lot more stuff over to the code base. So there will be as many things to look at as usual, but that was needed to be done, and the longer I left it, the harder it would have been. So one of the first things you might be able to hear that's different is this music. So that this awesome guy's given me a couple of tracks to use for my game as kind of like a tester, and I love both of them. They're really good. I think they fit in with the kind of style and tempo and theme of the game. We'll see what's going to happen with that, but the music I think is amazing. It's really, really good. I'll link the guy's details down below, so you can follow him, you can have a look at his stuff if you want, I would highly recommend checking them out. Speaking of music, this is one of my new idols, so I can have my villagers actually playing music now. So you can, this guy here, I don't actually have a lute at the minute, or an animation for it, but this idol is every time he sits down here, he will then start playing, in this case, Greensleeves, and that'll also influence people around him. But again, it's just trying to make the world feel a little bit more alive, so people can kind of go off and do different idols rather than just kind of idling, standing still, looking, talking. They can actually engage in song and dance, for example. So that's one of the things I've been doing. I've also been working on the weather a little bit more, so I've changed the colours a little bit again. I've actually gone and reduced the contrast a little bit more. I thought it was a little bit too vibrant. It really kind of made your eyes hurt a little bit when looking for it for too long. I quite like these more softer, natural pastel colours. With the weather, so I've now got storms. So you might say ignore these trees because not all the materials are set up for it, so these are actually going to go a little bit crazy. But storm is basically just a more violent version of the rain. They'll decrease your villagers' happiness levels for a little bit while it's on, more so if they don't have a house. But you should see in a minute we'll have some actual storms that come in. I'll just speed it up a bit. There we go. And you can hear the thunder as well. So what I want in the future as well is these to actually have a potential to cause fire and stuff as well. So if they hit a building while you've got a thunderstorm, you can actually have a building burn down. Let's put it back to daytime just so I can see what's going on. And then the other one I've been working on,
winter is here.
Just bring it to winter and then snow instead of.
A villager has fallen ill.
So the snow I've actually been working on quite a bit. So it seems to be a little bit dark. I don't know if the fog's probably just been ramped up a little bit too much. But yeah, now you can see that when it's snowing, I've actually got the snow to rise up from the ground. So anywhere where there's not mud painted down, it actually will rise up and covered in snow. So you'll see as it goes on and on, more and more of this will, the grass starts to become completely covered. And the villagers, when they walk around, they actually draw into the mud
A
map.
villager has fallen ill.
And so as they start to walk about, they will, if they were walking across like the grass and stuff, which maybe someone over here might do if I just move back to daytime again. I can't actually see any, but they, when they, there we go. Yeah, so he was walking through, and you can see he's actually reducing the amount of snow. There we go. So yeah, this looks really cool once it's been snowed for quite a while, and all this is covered, and you can see like little trails through the grass and stuff. It just looks really awesome. And then what happens is as it becomes more sunny, the snow starts to fade away as well, and also when it rains, it goes down faster. But yeah, I think this starts to look really cool. So yeah, if we just kind of make it to like a clear day now, you can see that this whole world just feels cold, snowy, which is cool. Actually, as well, if I quickly just load the game, and then if I show you, I've also done some more visual effects as well. So I've got some wind trails, so you can see them just dotted around. One of these aren't linked to the actual wind at the minute, and neither is the tree rotation, but at some point I'm going to unify the whole weather system, so the wind direction affects like the way these come in, the length of the wind trails, the speed of them, and the same with the trees as well. So I want all the trees to rock. And I did some changes to the tree materials as well, so they actually do try and do it. If you watch it for a while, there is actually a gradient that runs through, so you will have random trees in random places swaying randomly, like they'll kind of like, you'll see the wind almost like pass through the trees. You can see that more with different weather as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the weather. So some of the building changes I've added in is I've got some new buildings. I've got a physician's hut here, and so what this will do is, as long as you have herbs and a physician, this will basically heal people in your village. I'm trying to work out what kind of gameplay I can add to this, whether it's kind of like within a vicinity or whatever. But right now it's just basically, as long as you've got one in your village, and to be honest, that's probably enough, then people will start to heal and heal faster and stuff. As with all the kind of settler jobs as well, I want it based on the higher your physician, so the higher this person's job level gets, more stuff becomes unlocked. So maybe you can have like, as a gamey kind of feature, for example, you could have it so if someone breaks a bone, you could spend a point and instantly fix that. Or maybe it's just the fact that once they get to level 5, broken bones healing half the time. So again, it's rewarding players for having someone in that job for longer, and then penalising them or providing them with like something to worry about if they lose that physician, or that physician dies or leaves the town or whatever. They're going to lose those bonuses. School. So we've got a teacher here. Right now I've just got a monk's outfit. He's teaching students, although for some reason the kids are actually out of school. And this basically just keeps all the kids safe, so they'll all be here, they'll all be playing, and then it'll also, the longer they're in there, it'll increase their education as well. So I can't click on him. I need to work on that, but so the longer a kid is in school, their education will increase, and then they'll become educated if they're in there long enough, which means they're more applicable for certain jobs, and it'll also increase some of their stats a little bit more as well. So for example, stats if they don't go to school will be a lot lower than if they were at school. I think she's actually meant to be over here. I don't know why she's there. Game dev. Cool. And then another one is the granary. So I split the resources into groups a long time ago. So I had food, raw goods, and trade goods, and I've actually split that into how you actually store it as well. So for example, we have a barn. This will store foods. But actually, the barn will store raw goods, The granary will store food, and then I've also got a warehouse. I've got to build it, but this will basically store trade goods. And then you've got the storage yard, which is the most basic version, and this will store everything. It's going to be free to build, so for example, if you need somewhere to store somewhere quick, you can do. But I want stuff in there to be degrade, disappear. I want people to steal from it and stuff. It's going to be really unsecure. That kind of feeds into the whole trait system, where, like I said, in a previous one of these, that you can have someone who is a thief, and you have to find out that they're a thief. Maybe you catch them in the act. Maybe you've got to accuse them. Oh, I know what's happening here. So the nav isn't building because I placed these too close together. And then the warehouse, like I said, is for trade goods. So that's the new buildings. I've also changed how some work. So the gatherer's hut. I'll set it to daytime again, just so you can hopefully see this in action. So what I did before with the gatherer's hut is I had these bushes that I need to remove from the game, but I haven't yet. Here they are. Yeah, these berry bushes here. And it basically meant that, the more of these in the range of your gatherer's hut, the more jobs you could add to the gatherer's hut. So if you had 2 or 3, you would have 2 or 3 jobs, which meant you could get more resources in. But I felt it didn't really offer the player many options. So it's basically put a gatherer's hut near one of these, and that would be it. That would be all the gameplay behind it. And if I can't find a way to procedurally generate maps, it means all maps will play very similar. So I've changed it so that gatherer's huts. So basically, trees now spawn other resources around them. So if you can see here, we have mushrooms, we have herbs, and should be some berries somewhere. Berries here as well. I needed some better meshes for these. I'm just using what I've got at the minute. Basically, if they're a gatherer, they will basically look for trees and grab the resources from there, and then trees replenish these over time. So kind of similar to Banished, to be honest. You want to combine the Forester's Hut and the Gatherer's Hut together. And what that'll do is the Forester's Hut will keep you a nice steady supply of trees in that area, and then the Gatherer's Hut will take the resources from those trees. So these two work really, really well together. And you can see, in her inventory now, she's got 1 herbs. I also actually, while I'm at it, I did change the characters, so their inventory is on the main page. So I need to actually play this up because this is actually one wrong now. But it just made it was much easier just to find out what they've got. So you can click on the character and you can see their full inventory there, which was just a bit better. That to me, I think is a really good change, and also means that these are actually bringing in free resources. So it's not just berries now; they're bringing in, like I said, berries, mushrooms, herbs. I can add as much as I want to these, and then different trees can give off different stuff. So, for example, these trees can give off these resources, and maybe some of the trees somewhere else can give off some different ones, which again gives gameplay to the player where they can choose where they want to place them, move the gatherers about to the best resource spot. Cool, so that's that. I've also been doing some stuff with decisions. So you can see down here, I've got decisions that have come through. Still working on the name of what that should be. But the idea is that these will come in randomly. Some won't be so random. So, for example, this one's random. So this is the king's requested that you send some supplies, and you can choose what you want to do. Very, very, very placeholder UI and the system behind it. But for example, if you accept, you send off 20 bread, and then you gain some favour from the king. So this is, again, a system I'm just working with at the minute. It's just really, really early. But you can kind of get king's favour, and then you can choose to spend that on stuff in the future. So more stuff will become unlocked. You can ask for more requests and stuff. And then obviously, if you're not going to get the king's favour by you're not paying him tax, you're not giving him the supplies he wants, you're not helping him out, then that'll go down. Less will be kind of unlocked to you, and you won't be able to have that support line if you need it. So these ones are new villagers that I want to join, and again, you have to weigh up whether you want these or not. So it tells you the attributes, any kind of job levels they might have, the traits that they might have as well. But you've got to remember that these people can come in and they're going to use up resources, going to need a place to stay. So you don't always want to accept all these, but if you do, then you have a new person who's joined, and there she is. So you need to obviously give her a house. Yeah, the houses. I'm in the middle of actually updating these as well. I want a better way to visualize who's in the house. So I'm in the middle of moving this over to a different system, which is why again it's kind of a bit broken. But for example, I want people to live together who should be living together, and I want the player to be able to easily identify that. So if you have a man in here, I want it quite easy to show that if his wife's not living in here, probably she should be. So you can choose to quickly apply, move her to here. Same with any children, you can maybe say like he's expecting children to be living here, or if they are, somewhere just highlighting that these people are all in a relationship, all connected. Because at the minute it's very difficult for the player to kind of like click on someone and go like, oh, is this person related to this person? Should they be in? Where's his wife? They're all just like UI tweaks. And then some other stuff. So yeah, some just nice ones and some function ones as well. So this one of trade settlers has gained a new trait, which is cool. Obviously, need a better way to actually show which settler that is. And yeah, I think these are all the same. Oh yeah, and stuff like this. So rat infestation, your settlement has lost a bit of food, etc. Just to kind of keep that randomness going. The good thing is these are really cheap and easy to build, and you can add loads of these. Cool. So that's decisions. Objectives. Just let me close the game. So yep. Sorry, the game. Well, the editor just had a little freeze then. So objectives, I've also improved on how they work. They use the object system that I showed you in one of my earlier videos. So these are really good. These are really easy to add and create, and I can just place them on whatever level I want, and it just keeps track of what's going on in the game world. So for example, if we just put instant build on, and then we need to build some camps. So campsite
completed.
And then you can see in the top left it immediately updates.
Objective complete.
And to get a gatherer's hut as well.
New villagers want to join your settlement.
Completes that. Your settlement's upgraded.
Has been upgraded.
I've also made it change the mesh of the building when it upgrades as well, so you can see like how far you are through. And yeah, it tells you on the left your new objectives, and again, already started tracking. And so yeah, they're quite a cool system. But I'll just quickly show you how they are set up. So again, I've created a C++ class for these. Just derived off it. But yeah, so this is my blueprint component for it's like just basically manage it all. But when I want to add some new objectives in, so when the settlement type has changed, I then set up the new objectives HUD, and what that basically does is finds the objectives based on the settlement level. So for example, if I'm an outpost or hamlet, village, town, I then get these objects. So these are the objects here. I construct it, and then add it to an array so that I get garbage collected, and then initialize them. And then here, initializing all this is doing is basically setting some variables, and then calling this initialize function, which, for example, if this was looking at population, this would just be, so initializes, I get the game state, get the settlement manager, and then I'm just listening out for when settlers changes. And then I can add in here like the number of settlers I want to listen out for, and then every time a settler has been added or removed, it just listens out for itself, and then it'll basically complete itself, and then the UI just listens out for that as well. So it's kind of like a self-containing object. It does all the logic itself. All I have to do is just add it, and then it just listens out for stuff. Same with the construction of buildings as well. So if I find that one, so this is the listen out for buildings. So basically, again, I add the object objective. I initialize it, and then this does all its own stuff. So basically, it grabs the building manager and just listens out for has a building being constructed, and then if that building matches the one that it's looking out for. So again, it's quite easy to actually modularize this. So if that building has been then constructed, it then updates the objective text and completes itself. And then, in here, all I do is just bind to wherever these are finished are, if they've completed. And then once they've all completed, then I complete that set of objectives and move the player onto the next phase. So yeah, they're easy enough and quite powerful to build. I've also been working on the settler finder just to help players out a little bit more. So here we have this, sorry, not this one, this is just the villager overview. But for example, the blacksmith, you got here a blacksmith, and it says here bonus attribute is strength. I've now got it that it basically orders these based on the most sought after attribute based on the building. So for example, here it's strength, so it will put people with high strength at the top going down to low strength. So you can quite easily see as soon as you click it, who's the best person for this, and you can click here. So it just does it by attribute at the minute. It doesn't actually look for the if they've got job levels and stuff as well. It also doesn't put them into order, if they have a job or they don't have a job. But it's a start. I also added this. I don't think I talked about this last time as well, but basically buildings can now create more than one resource or produce more than one resource. Sometimes it depends on what's there in the building. So for example, here in the pasture, you can choose what to build, but that then is based on what's in the pasture itself. But for something like the blacksmith, to build any of these, you need a high level blacksmith. So if I got Alberta, where are you? She's stuck. Good old Mesh generation. But if we just level her up, so she's now level 4, 5 blacksmith, and now click on here, you can now see that we now have more available to us. Oh, there she is. She's, for some reason, she's moved over there. So we can actually change between these now. So we can actually change to build tools instead, or build nails, armor, weapons. Some of these are mainly used for trading, some of these are actually used for building a house and stuff. I've made sure that these actually always cost the same. So for example, 10 ore, they should be, I just haven't filled them out. Just so that it's easy for the player to track, and I can quite easily just reset this and restart the production without having to check if the player's got enough resource assigned there. I've also kind of changed how the resource generation works. I simplified a lot of systems when I started moving over to C++. So here, for example, this production level here, 24. What I used to do before was basically grab the people inside the building and check what they had. And it wouldn't count people who were not inside the building, so it basically showed you at that time. I've now changed that, so as soon as you assign someone, it just caches what they've got and listens out for any changes, and it will always just show like the optimum. And again, so if you have a building where there's going to be multiple people in there, so I don't think I've got that many, but if the blacksmith, for example, could take 2 or 3 people, before I used to go like, oh well, if 2 of those people aren't working, then reduce the amount of production and just base it on whoever's in there at that time. I think that was an overly complex mechanic that wasn't needed. So basically it just goes, if you're assigned to this building, doesn't matter if that person's asleep or whatever, they will add to that production. I might do some exceptions. So for example, if they're ill, for example, if they've got a broken bone and literally can't work, then I might flag it here and put it in like red and just say like, one of your villagers is unable to work. But if they're sleeping, not at the building, delivering resources, collecting resources, I'm going to make it so it already is, so it just adds to that production. I think that will just simplify it for the player. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, the majority of my work was moving all my enums and structs over to code. That honestly took a long time. I'm actually surprised it went through so painlessly. I expected that just to really break a lot, because they fed into every single system, but that's, yeah, it went through fine, and now I can, when I build packages and stuff, I don't get any errors. It's a bit of a shame that there isn't a way in Unreal just to be able to right click something and say, convert to C++ class, especially on an enum and a struct. You'd have thought they would have been pretty simple to move over. But it is what it is. It's just in future when I make enums and structs, I'm going to make sure that they're always C++ classes, and honestly I'd advise anyone who can build them in C++ to do it, because I was having issues where if I'd change a value in a struct or an enum, it would shuffle everything, it would break everything. I would have like data tables that I'd add another resource in, and now all the resources for everything was mixed up, and because I was referenced in so many places, it would be a nightmare to fix afterwards. So yeah, that's where we are at the minute. Like I said, I haven't got a massive amount to show off, but a lot behind the scenes has changed and improved. Same with some other stuff like behavior trees and stuff. I've simplified a lot of them, so now a lot of these buildings all just use a single behavior tree, because they were all doing this very similar behavior. Basically checking if there's a resource in the building. If there wasn't, going to go grab that resource, bring it to the building, power that building up, basically to use a resource, and then produce that resource and deliver it. So I tried to simplify all these so they're all just using the same behavior tree. So yeah, that's where I am at the minute. So yeah, next couple of months should be fun. Now I'm just gonna get back into just building stuff again. I want to again just review a lot of mechanics, simplify a lot of stuff. I want to work on the road tool a little bit more, the path tool, because while I've kind of got it working again, I've gone back to a really simple version of it's just kind of line based. And I don't think this is what I want at the minute. I think I want players to be able to build more natural looking paths, so kind of go back to what I had before, but then maybe make it so that they are assigned, buildings have to be attached to paths. I've got props working again, which is good as well, so I can now add like trees, benches, and again these all have the idols and stuff attached to them. So this bench here has an idle point here, so people will actually go use it. I've got some like lanterns now as well, an arch. I tried to make these so you can place them over paths, so if you want you can place an arch over the path. The fence tool I've improved a little bit more as well, so this is quite cool for doing this. I've made it so the stretching, sometimes there's little gaps in before, and I figured out what was causing that, so now the fence tool should always work. So wooden fences, do whatever, feel like there's any gaps in there. I need a way to actually be able to remove these there and update them. And yeah, so that's where I am. Awesome, brilliant. Yeah, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys coming along for the ride, and if you've got any more stuff that you want me to dive into, show off, look at, or if you've got any suggestions, just message me in the comments. You can always just grab me from an email or whatever. You can join our Discord, and I'll always make sure I reply to you as well. But yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Great to have you on board, and see you in the next video. Cheers.